I spent decades being the person everyone called when their world fell apart. I was always there, always available, always had something to give. People got better, found their footing, rebuilt their lives, and then they moved on. But every single time that happened, it hit me with a force that made no sense given the circumstances. It took me years to understand why. What I discovered was one of the most unsettling but also most liberating truths I have ever had to sit with. I had built that whole system myself. I'm Sinta Ebersohn, and welcome to this week's episode. What we are getting into today is something that I have wanted to talk about for a long time because it sits at the intersection of something deeply personal and something I see constantly in people that I work with. It's the story of how a wound and a calling can run so closely together that you really cannot tell them apart, and what happens when you finally can. There is a pattern that develops in people who grew up in homes where love was conditional, where you had to earn through performance, through compliance, through making yourself useful. The lesson that gets written into your nervous system very early on is that worth is not something that you simply have. It's something you have to keep generating, keep proving, keep maintaining through consistent effort. For me, that played out in a very specific way. I became the person that people leaned on, not occasionally, not as a coincidence, but consistently across every context and every season of my life. I was drawn to people who were struggling, and they were drawn to me. I poured myself into their recoveries. I was really good at it. People got better, got stronger, reconnected with their sense of direction, and then moved on with their lives. The need that had been the foundation of our connection faded because the need had been resolved. They no longer required what I had been providing. Every time that happened, something in me registered it as evidence of my worst fear, that the only love available to me was conditional on what I could do. And that the moment I stopped being useful, I became invisible. What I could not see from the inside was that I had constructed the whole thing. I had been choosing people whose connection to me was built on need, which meant I had been selecting for relationships that were inherently temporary because when the need was resolved, the connection had nowhere to go. I had created a system that would reliably produce the exact experience that I most dreaded over and over again without ever understanding that I was doing it. There is something important I need to say here because I do not want this to sound like a straightforward cautionary tale. The calling was real. My calling was real. From a very young age, I had an instinctive, almost uncomfortable sensitivity to the emotional states of the people around me. I could read a room before anyone had spoken. I could sit with someone in real darkness without needing it to resolve quickly or comfortably. That was not the wound. That was a profound attunement to human suffering that I was born with, and that has become the foundation of everything I do professionally. That wound was the part that needed the helping in order to feel worthy. The wound was the part that selected for crisis because need felt like proof of mattering to me. Those two things had been operating as one program for most of my life. Untangling them was very significant for me. What I have just described is not unique to me. There is a substantial body of clinical research that maps this exact pattern, and understanding it changed the way that I saw my own story completely. Studies on children who are required to take on emotional responsibility for the adults around them show that this leaves a very specific imprint. The belief that love is earned through service does not stay in the family home. It travels into every adult relationship that follows and quietly organizes them from the inside out. Research also shows that deriving your sense of value from being needed rather than from an inherent sense of worth carries a real cost over time. It is linked to burnout, to deep relationship dissatisfaction, and to a kind of emotional exhaustion that builds so slowly you often do not notice it until it has accumulated into something very serious. What the research also tells us, and what I found to be true in my own experience, is that understanding this pattern intellectually is not enough to shift it. The work has to happen at a deeper level than thinking. And that is where certain therapeutic approaches become really transformative, not by reducing symptoms, but by changing the lens through which you see everything. My Friday newsletter goes into the full research picture in considerably more depth. That level of detail is something that I reserve exclusively for members. But let's look at the process in brief. Let me tell you what shifted for me at the level of insight, upgrade, and practical change, although the full detail of how I moved through all 4 steps of the Get Up and Grow process is waiting for you in this week's newsletter that goes out on Friday. The insight that changed everything was seeing the difference between the calling and the wound, and recognizing that for most of my life, they had been indistinguishable. The belief that had to be upgraded was the one at the center of the whole pattern, that worth is conditional on usefulness, that love, which requires no effort from me, cannot be trusted, and that being needed is safer than needing. The updated truth is that I have inherent worth, not worth that I have to generate through performance of any kind. Now that took time. It was not an intellectual arrival. It was something I had to earn slowly through doing the work. The practical shifts were significant too. I drew a deliberate line between the people in my life and the people I serve through my work. I invested in relationships where presence and care ran in both directions. I established firm professional boundaries around the expertise I have spent a lifetime building. I learned to let people go with peace when they no longer needed what I had been walking alongside them for, and to experience that not as abandonment, but as the whole point. Next week, I'm going to take you somewhere more intimate than anywhere this podcast has gone before. I'm going to tell you the truth about my intimate relationships, the behavioral patterns that played out behind closed doors, what I brought into every partnership without knowing that I was doing it, and how I engineered outcomes that I desperately did not want. If you have ever wondered why the same things keep going wrong in your closest relationships, no matter how determined you are to do things differently, that conversation is for you. If what you've been hearing across these past few weeks is resonating, I want you to know that there is a place where we go even deeper than a podcast ever can. The Get Up and Grow Masterclass is happening on 29 April, and it is exclusively for members. We work through all 4 of the steps in the process with guided exercises, structured reflection, direct access to me, and a lot more. If you are a member, details are coming very soon. If you are not a member yet, now is the time to sign up and join us. Everything I share in this podcast is only a part of the full story, which comprises the complete 4-step process that's applied in detail, the research that's relevant to it, my resilience puzzle framework, and lots of resilience resources that you can actually use and in your own life, tools that you can apply. All of that is inside the Get Up and Grow membership, and it's waiting for you. It's $13 a month, and it's the most direct path to taking what you hear here and turning it into real, lasting change in your life. The link is in the description and always in my bio. Come and join us. I would love to hear whether this week's episode brought something up for you. Please leave a comment or reach out to me and let me know. I read everything as soon as I can, and your feedback really matters to me. I'm Sinta Ebersohn, and I will see you next week.